Good morning. Happy Saturday. It is January 11th. And yesterday we spoke a little bit about the reluctant leader, which is someone who has a leadership role and has some leadership qualities, but may be hesitant, reluctant to really truly lead their team. So maybe their teams aren't functioning as well and their communication skills are a little off. So it's someone that's, needs to polish up those things, and that's okay. I want to make sure everybody's aware that it's okay if you're a little reluctant or hesitant as a leader. That's all right, but you can find support, you can get support, classes, coaching, those types of things are available, and those are the things I provide. So today I'm going to shift to the other end of the spectrum, which is the seasoned leader. And this is someone who, has been in the trenches, so to speak, for years and some maybe even decades leading. And so as you can imagine, these folks have tons of experience. They've, run through working with many teams. They've had all sorts of changes at their businesses and at their companies, and they've gained leadership training over the years. Maybe they've had some coaching, and they've got that leadership piece more or less dialed in. Now, obviously it's not always perfect. So the issues with seasoned leaders, though, sometimes can be things like complacency or just not willing to make changes. It's the attitude of, well, I've always done things this way, so I'm not going to make any changes because it's worked. But what happens is sometimes we don't see those things that need to change or need to be amended or tweaked or totally reworked because we just get in. It's kind of the routine. You get into this routine of, I do the same thing day after day. It's working for me, so why change it? And in some sense, that's true. But in other ways, as teams change and employees change over, the dynamic changes. So you do need to make changes. So the seasoned leaders have the skills and the mindset and, the ability to make changes. But unfortunately, what I've seen is sometimes those folks get into the trenches and they just kind of have blinders on and they don't do things differently when maybe they need to be. So seasoned leaders are also still people that could use support, classes, training, new ways of thinking, mindset shifts, coaching, those types of things. Seasoned leaders can be a wonderful resource for newer leaders. They could be mentors for newer leaders. So that's awesome as well. So I just thought I'd touch a little bit on the seasoned leaders today. We had the reluctant, maybe the newer leaders, someone who's been leading for a year or two, or definitely newer leaders versus those who've been out there in the trenches. And, an example I can think of too, I've worked in academics for years, for decades, and I've worked with instructors and professors of all different levels, brand new teachers, all the way up to those who have taught for 30 years. And I found some of those seasoned instructors were people who were very much set in their ways. So for example, one college that I worked for, we started switching over into ebooks, and the seasoned instructors kicked and screamed the whole way. I'm not using ebooks, I use a textbook, and this is what I use. But what it was, in the end, my work with them included shifting into, here's reasons why this is important. The students that you're working with now are online. They're on their phones, they're on their tablets. They like digital textbooks, for example. They don't want to buy a book. They don't want to carry a book around. So working with them in that way is really important. So when you're in the classroom, you can pull up an ebook on a screen and you know where to find things because you're trained in how to use that ebook. And the more I was able to talk with these amazing seasoned instructors who clearly knew their content about just changing up, kind of the technology and the digital products, for them to be able to realize, oh, you're right. These students are not attracting, these textbooks and these ideas. This is not where they're at. They are attracting digital. And so that's what they want. And so I guess I do need to learn this. Same thing in any environment, in a business environment. Things change, and so you've got to stay on top of newer things, newer people, newer techniques, newer assets to the business, newer stakeholders, all of that. So with that, I'm going to leave you with that little bit about seasoned leaders. Again, think about where you fit on the spectrum. If you've been leading for a long time, perhaps you're more so in that seasoned leader category, but what are areas where you still could improve, make changes, learn some new things, get some coaching so that you're really attending to everybody's needs in the organization. Make it a great day, and I'll see you tomorrow.